Welcome to the Savvy Podcasting for Entrepreneurs podcast, a place for podcasters to learn what's actually working in the world of podcasting and how to use their podcast to generate consistent leads in their business. I'm your host, Jenny, and I'm so excited you're here.
Hey, Savvies, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I'm super stoked that you're here, and I can't wait to dive into today's episode. So in today's episode, we're going to be diving into the topic of how to take time off from your podcast in the summer. So I know in most people's businesses, the summer is typically a lot slower than the rest of the year. And that definitely rings true for me and my agency. So it probably is similar in your business. So your listeners are likely taking time off and enjoying the summer and spending more time with their family and friends. So you're probably wondering if putting out episodes during this time is even worth it. Now, I've personally never taken a summer hiatus from my show, but that doesn't mean that it isn't possible to do. Just I haven't done it. So I'm going to just share some tips with you that you can do to take time off in the summer without losing listeners, because that is a crucial component of podcasting. You want to make sure you're able to stay consistent and, not just ghost your listeners for several months at a time. So my first tip is to let your listeners know well in advance that you'll be taking the summer off. So I think this is something that people often forget, whether they're breaking for the summer or even just taking a quick break in between seasons. You don't want to completely ghost your listeners for the entire summer. So you want to let them know in advance what your plans are. And of course, you deserve time off from producing your show 100%, but just make sure to communicate that. Otherwise, you're going to leave your listeners feeling disappointed and confused. And you just want them to know that you're not just leaving them high and dry. You will be back at a certain point and announce that point when you will be back. If you want to still put out episodes, but you don't want to put out new episodes, you can look at rerunning some replay episodes. So this will just minimize the work on your end, since obviously these episodes are already edited. They already have show notes likely for them. And this will just minimize the work on your end, but also keep your listeners happy. This is going to be pretty low effort on your end, and you don't have to put out a new replay episode every week. You can just run a couple throughout the summer just to give your listeners something so your show is not completely dead for 2 to 3 months. Another thing you can do if you aren't feeling like completely stopping doing episodes and you're not really interested in running replay episodes is you can drop down to bi-weekly episodes. So you can put out episodes every other week in the summer to still be able to give your listeners something new without completely burning you out. This is what I would personally recommend, is just dropping down to bi-weekly. And then once you're back, stepping up to full episodes every week again. But that's personally what I would do if I was going to take a summer hiatus. But like I said, replay episodes are great. Just completely taking off is fine too, as long as you let your audience know. And another thing you can do is you can put together a best of episode to hold your listeners over. So this can release like midway through your break as a fun little surprise for your listeners, because they won't be expecting it from you. So it'll be a nice bonus while you're off enjoying your summer and relaxing, taking vacation, whatever that may be. So those are my tips for taking the summer off and taking a break from your podcast without completely losing your listenership. Like I mentioned, my favorite is to just reduce the amount that you're putting out, but I think running replay episodes is great too. I personally wouldn't recommend just completely leaving for like 2 months, but if you absolutely have to, then you do you, basically. I've had clients do several things. They take a month off. They take 2 months off. I've had clients like run replay episodes. I've had them drop down to bi-weekly. I've had everyone do everything. And personally, I've seen bi-weekly be the best, because obviously they're still getting downloads. They're still attracting new people, but they're just not doing as much content. So it's up to you, really. So I'd love to know, have you ever taken the summer off from releasing new episodes, or do you plan to do that this summer? Let me know at our Instagram at Podcasting for Entrepreneurs. And I'm just curious, just let me know over there. I'd love to chat with you about that and basically all things podcasting. So Go check us out, Podcasting for Entrepreneurs on Instagram. And yeah, that is it for today's episode. You can find the show notes for this episode by going to savvypodcastingforentrepreneurs.com. And I'll see you in the next episode.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast player like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Stitcher, and leave a review. You can find us at savvypodcastingforentrepreneurs.com and on Facebook at Savvy Podcasting for Entrepreneurs and Instagram at Savvy Podcasting. Make sure to join our free Facebook community for podcasters by going to savvypodcastingforentrepreneurs.com/community and join in on the exclusive community just for Savvy Podcasting for Entrepreneurs listeners. I'll see you there.